I'm Jessie David from Metal Wani, and I am joined by Jourgensen of Ministry. How's it going today?
It's all good. It's all good in the land of Trump. That was sarcasm, by the way, so.
Couldn't tell. You're about to release your 14th studio album, Amerikkkant, which is set to drop March 9th. What was your inspiration here?
The inspiration was, that's a complex question. So, lot of inspirations. I mean, obviously, the direction that I think that this country's going in, that the world is going in for that matter, was one. The fact that we had written some kick-ass jams in a studio as a band for the first time since, I'd say like 1995, and when we did Filth Pig was the last time I was in a studio with a full band instead of just me, a computer and an engineer. So that was inspirational to me. I mean, lots of reasons. There's a lot of reasons that this album was made.
I gotta say, I'm a big fan of the artwork for the new album. The Statue of Liberty, it looks really ashamed. There's destruction in the background. It's black, white, gray, and red. It's very in your face. What were you going for? Is that kind of what you were going for the album artwork?
I think we're living in kind of in-your-face times. So, yeah, I think it's appropriate. I mean, this album to me is just basically it's the audio equivalent to a series like something like Black Mirror, where like the producer, director, writer, Charlie Brooker, basically just holds a mirror up to society and goes, okay, this is where we're at. This is where we're going. Do you want to be part of this? And my answer is a resolute, absolutely fucking not. So that's where we stand on this record.
I had a chance to listen to Amerikkkant. I love it. Right off the bat, it's very clear that it's very politically driven. And I mean, it sounds like you're expressing all this anger, frustration, and lies, which maybe the media have been feeding us. So what triggered this thought to write an album with a sensitive topic?
Well, actually, I think society is feeding the media, and the media just goes on steroids over it. I mean, what we have basically is a society around the globe, not just America, that's just thinks that fascism is a good idea again. Like, it reminds me of the 1930s, like right before Europe was taken over by Hitler and Mussolini and Franco and a bunch of that lot, and Stalin, of course. And we're in the same place again, and we haven't learned any of the lessons that we learned from the last time. And I see the world just going for this, even though we know it doesn't work. And so I just thought it was time for me to say something.
I love that. So you are someone who likes to stay up to date when it comes to politics. And with so many mass shootings happening in the States right now, where do you think the states are heading?
Well, I think that we're about fixing to make some cosmetic changes like we've done with everything that is really a serious problem. We make a few window dressing changes, and then everyone shuts up for a while. Like I'm sure they'll ban bump stocks and probably revisit the 1990s assault rifle ban and all this. And I mean, even Trump's talking about this now because they realize like they've just pushed too far to the right. And now they have to make some concessions, but still, they've taken the whole ball and swung it so far to the right that making a few concessions doesn't mean that they haven't made gains. And all this is really antithemic towards where we should be going. But yeah, I do see some cosmetic dressings, but this is what this album's about. It's not an anti-Trump record. It's about like what about the system that produces people like Trump and Bush and Reagan, and if you want to go globally, like Duterte in the Philippines, or the Austrian and Dutch candidates, or the French candidate Marine Le Pen, or the leaders of Poland and Hungary now. I mean, we're all sorry for the pun, but we're all hungering for fascism now, and this is not something that works, and it's antithetical towards basic human happiness. And so it's a lot deeper than just like, whoa, I hate Trump, he's a big orange goblin, this and that. It's a little bit deeper than that.
Off the album, I'm a huge fan of Wargasm, We're Tired of It, and Twilight Zone. They stand out for me. Is there a song that stands out for you?
No, because I think there's only one song on this record. I think the record is kind of like harkens us back to the old days of like say listening to like Dark Side of the Moon or something like that. It's a narrative that tells a story, and they all talk to each other. And they're all telling a story, each song on here, so it's hard to pick individual ones. It's like if you have a brood of kids, the most unfair question in the world is asking a mother as to who's your favorite kid.
That's true, yeah. So you have a 5-week North American tour coming up, and to support the new album, you came up with a big announcement for this tour. The tour guest lineup will feature Fear Factory, Burton C. Bell, drummer Joey Jourgensen, DJ Swamp of Beck. How did this Motley crew come together?
Organically. It's just like we're all neighbors. We all have the same kind of ideals and morality, and we work together on this record. And it all came about really organically. Like I think I've said before in other interviews, this is the first time since '95 I've been into a studio, a recording studio, with an actual band instead of just me in a windowless room with a really smelly engineer and no windows and no ventilation, and just like you crank out records. And this was like whoa, dude, it was like jamming again, you know, like, whoa, the same kind of thought element and the same spirituality, like all in a room, like, you know, jamming and shit, man. It was cool. I really liked it. You know, it was really inspirational for me.
Well, I'm sure it felt great to collaborate with other musicians as well. Like you said, it's not just you in a room anymore. Now you have other feedback as well, which is a great feeling.
Yeah, that was kick-ass. I would do it again. Let me put it that way.
Is this only the tour lineup for Amerikkkant, or can you see yourself working with these guys more down the road?
It depends who's available. I mean, everyone has their own projects and stuff like that. That's what was so like cosmically cool about this record, is that people's schedules just opened up, you know, to be involved in this project. Yeah, I mean, I can't predict the future, but of course I'd like to work with these guys again, and I'd like to work with new people, you know, so who, you know, there's no telling. I'm not Nostradamus, man. It's like, you know, next record may be a whole different set of people, but be assured that it'll be people of, you know, that are feeling it at the time, as we were when we did this record.
Is there a musician or band that comes to mind that we would love to work with?
Well, I mean, I've always said this in interviews and things, that the only person that I haven't worked with that I know of so far that I would like to work with would probably be Tom Waits. Other than that, yeah, and you know, I keep saying it over and over, hoping he'll call someday. So right now I'm still the jilted lover sitting at the altar, but you know, there you go.
So for this tour, you're also playing a new set list. Will this include songs from Fear Factory or maybe Slipknot?
No, that's not in the plans right now. God knows what'll happen at rehearsals, which we start next week. But right now, it's pretty much we're really focusing on this album, and we'll be playing a few of the old Ministry songs, and we'll see if we can't fit in something from Fear Factory or Slipknot. But don't forget, then Tony, our bass player, will be squawking about, like, well, how come we didn't do a Static X song? And then I got JB going, well, we should do Killing Joke songs, because he played in Killing Joke on keyboard. So, you know, we'll see what happens, but we're really focusing on the new record.
So I was listening to Every Day is Halloween, a song back from the 80s for you. How do you think your music style has changed since then?
Well, okay. My music style has changed. Let me ask you this. How do you think the world has changed since then? Well, it's the same thing. I mean, my music is very similar to just holding a mirror up and this is what's going on, people. And then also it's like taking a snapshot. I mean, on this record, I felt more like, you know, in spite of all the jamming and the organicness of this record, it felt more like I was more of a photographer than I was a producer or a musician, in the sense that, okay, this is just a snapshot of this particular moment in time on my travels through this planet. This is what happened. Here it is. You guys can, like, critique it, take it apart, like it, hate it, doesn't matter. This is what happened. And so it's more like literally just walking down the street and taking a Polaroid, an old school Polaroid shot of, an instant Snapchat kind of thing of what you see. So, of course it's going to change.
Now, Slayer, a band that formed around the same time as Ministry, announced their farewell tour. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, the farewell tour was strictly a health issue thing, man. I mean, I keep getting asked this question, and it really kind of is frustrating, because I didn't know what was going on. I was throwing up blood every single day on tour, and I just said, I don't need this anymore. I've since had surgeries. They found 13 different ulcers in my stomach, and I had to have a series of surgeries, got it all taken care of, and I feel great now. But at the time, would you want to tour while throwing up blood? It's like, no, final tour, I'm done, man.
Oh, no. But what do you think about Slayer announcing their farewell tour?
Well, I hope they don't have ulcers. Because, if they do, I could totally understand it, and if not, that's their prerogative, man. It's fine. I mean, why are bands beholden to their fans? That's the antithesis of trying to do art. I mean, you should do art for yourself, and if people like it and want to come along for the ride, that's great. And if they don't, they can change the channel. But I mean, my announcement of retirement was strictly for health reasons. Trust me.
What do you think is next for Ministry? You have the album release and the tour. Do you have anything planned after that?
Well, I'm literally in the works of right now. I have to stop when we start rehearsals, but I'm about halfway through the new Revco record that I've been working on. Is yet untitled, but we're coming up with some good material for that, and this is also organic and pretty funny. I mean, the Revco has always been the antidote towards Ministry. Ministry gets all heavy and serious, and then Revco is just like a frat party with everyone wearing lampshades on their heads, like drunk as hell and jamming out. So we're about halfway through the new Revco record right now, so we'll see what happens. But I think that's the next on the agenda.
I love it. That's exciting. Is there anything else you would like your fans to know?
No. That's about it. Just make sure you vote in the midterms. Vote your conscience, and that's about it. Oh yeah, vote, and then while you're at it, buy one of our T-shirts. That would be good.
Amerikkkant drops March 9th, and I cannot wait. Al, thanks so much for taking the time to chat with me. Honestly, it's been awesome.
All right, thanks, man.
Before I let you go, I just want to say that I saw you a couple years ago at Wacken, and you were the only person to actually leave the stage, kind of go into the crowd, give high fives. I thought that was awesome.
Thanks, man. All right, well, hope to see you at Wacken again in the future. Not this summer, but I think next summer we'll be back. Yeah. Well, we'll see you in 2 years.